time for our Grassroots Citizen panel. Joining me in studio here in Southern California is Andrea Taylor. She is the founder, the president of I Am Tomorrow, a nonprofit. What is I Am Tomorrow, Andrea?
Yeah, I Am Tomorrow is a group of millennials, and we believe in promoting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Sounds like a great thing to promote.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with pursuing happiness.
Nope.
Seated to Andrea's left, but not ideologically, is Larry Wilske. Larry's a retired Navy SEAL running for Congress, Republican candidate for Congress here in Southern California, 53rd District. How's that going?
So far, so good. I'm out of the gates. Obviously, I'm a political novice, but as leadership and love of country, I'm as big an expert as anybody else.
What's interesting, Larry, is our viewers may know Nick Popovich, the cigar Marine.
Right.
He's been on the show many times, good friend of mine. You're running in the same district which he most recently ran in.
Yes, sir.
What is it about that district that seems to attract people such as yourself, retired Navy SEAL Nick Popovich as well?
I'm not sure what drew Nick. What draws me to it is it's the neighborhood I grew up in. So since elementary school through college and being in the military for 30 years, that's been my home as it's drawn right now. So I'm very concerned about my district and the representation they're getting in Washington. So I figured, why not?
By the way, as I mentioned before the show, I'm a resident of that district, so I look forward to watching your campaign develop in the 53rd District.
I'll look forward to your vote.
And joining us to Larry's left, both literally and ideologically, is Jeff Olson. Jeff was a political activist, best known for his leadership of the Occupy movement across America and in Southern Asia. No, just kidding.
Not quite. Thanks for having me back, Rick.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's get started. There's a story that's in the news that it's kind of troubling. I would never use the word hanging and president in the same sentence, but this one has a different twist to it. A black GOP congressional candidate, yes, Jeff, they do exist. A black GOP congressional candidate in Florida, a gentleman by the name of Joshua Black, no pun intended, I'm sure, says that President Obama should be hanged for treason. You're shaking. Let's start with I don't know where to start. We'll start with Jeff.
Strong words.
It's strong words. Let me take a controversial angle here. How much bigger? It's not as big a story as I would have expected. How much bigger would this story be, Jeff Olson, if he were white?
Well, I think anybody calling for the death of the president is going to get a knock on his door from Secret Service. So I think it's a big story one way or the other. But yeah, I can't. I don't know what this guy was thinking. I can't. Even someone I disagree with politically to the 100%, I'm never going to call for violence against that person. That's just not right. This guy really screwed
Unless
up.
they're an Occupy guy. But no, I'm just kidding. What do you think, Andrea? A bigger story if he was Caucasian?
It probably would have been a bigger story, but regardless of who said it, the comment was said, and it was inappropriate. Shouldn't have been said. And really, if that's really the case, then there would have been a lot more people calling for treason, and that needs to be decided in the courtroom and by the rule of law, and not by a congressman simply calling for it.
Yeah, right. And I agree. I mean, I may not agree with President Obama, Larry Wilske, on many things, but I don't want to use, those words with any American president.
Absolutely.
Something somebody says probably after happy hour, they shouldn't really be held responsible for because it's that ridiculous of a statement. But to your question about race being a part of it, I'm sure there's some irresponsible media out there that would love to sink their teeth into it and call it a racial issue if the guy had been white. The answer is it was a dumb thing to say. Yeah. That's all it is.
What if he were a white Hispanic like George Zimmerman? That was a little bit...
Wow.
I never heard of the term white Hispanic before the Zimmerman case, to be honest with you.
It's on your census form.
It's a new term.
You say it's on a census form. I agree with you. It's a new term. It might be on a census form, but it better be a new term on a census form.
I think it's how they differentiate between Puerto Ricans and other kinds of Hispanics.
You're racist.
But yeah, right. No, not true. I think the bottom line on this is that the Florida Democratic Party is feeling pretty good about holding on to that seat at this point.
I think you're probably right. No words like that out of you, Larry, in the 53rd District?
No, of course not. I mean, that's ridiculous. I think going back to your census statement, though, it would be really cool if we had a census block and there was one that said just American.
There you go.
I'm down for checking that box.
Yeah.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I don't know. That sounds awful nationalistic to me.
Oh, rats.
All right. You know, President Obama, he loves the left, as you know, Jeff. They love to say that science is on their side. Scientific facts support their outlook of the world. I mean, just look at that ship that went to the Antarctic to document global the melting of the ice caps got stuck in the sheet of ice. Now President Obama comes out, the President of the United States, we'll start with Andres, he comes out and says that smoking marijuana is no less dangerous, perhaps even less dangerous than drinking alcohol. However, the president's own medical advisor, the White House's medical consultant, said scientifically the president is wrong. He says that marijuana, THC, is a lot stronger today than it once was, and that the effects on the adolescent brain causes brain damage, lowers IQ where alcohol doesn't. Why isn't the left all of a sudden saying, well, science is against the president?
You know, I think this is one of those things, Rick, where the president is simply doing what's best for political gains. And we've seen this happen time and time again. And it's unfortunate that it's happening again now. But really, when we take a step back from all the issues with the medical backgrounds and the president's comments, I think it really comes down to what the Constitution says. And I think it goes back to the 10th Amendment. I think this is a state issue. And I don't think the president should really get himself involved in this.
You bring up, I agree with you, he should not be involved. You say it's political. Before we bring it again, where do you think the politics where are the politics of pot for President Obama on this?
I think it's political in the way the White House site says one thing and he's saying another thing, and he has switched a couple times, and so it seems like it appears as if he's simply saying what's most beneficial for him in the moment.
All right, so let me ask Larry Wilske. Larry, you know, legalization of pot is a libertarian issue. It's a liberal issue. A lot of conservatives blend over with libertarians. What do you think? The president responsible here?
To me, it's an emotional issue. And this comes very close to home with me. So I get a little ticked off when any politician says, let's legalize pot and make it an irresponsible thing.
Why is it close to home?
Well, first off, I've got a brother that died from an overdose. I had another one that did hard time for his involvement in the drug industry. I grew up in a neighborhood where drugs were everywhere. And pot's a step ladder. The first rung of that ladder is marijuana. It's not cigarettes, it's not alcohol, it's not anything else, but on the way to black tar, heroin, crack, or anything else that's murdered millions of Americans, first rung on that ladder is pot. Now, the flip side of that is, and I've had a stepdad that died from cancer. He died of bone cancer. And the last year of his life was excruciating pain, and he got relief from smoking weed. So I think in that regard, we have to have empathy for those people as well. So let's put it under the FDA, make it something that can be prescribed by an MD, not, you know, Moonbeam Field Goods pot store.
Right.
And let's get that down to where it should be. And if it does give relief to cancer patients, great, let's help them out. But, you know, this is where I don't agree that it's a 10th Amendment issue. This is a federal issue. It's a drug that kills Americans. Let's make it a federal drug and call it a day.
What do you say to those people who say that, wait a minute, alcohol, you know, if you abuse it, it could lead to stronger uses of alcohol, no different than how you say that marijuana is a gateway?
Well, it's real simple. Marijuana is a gateway. And I'll go right back to, if you put the rungs of that ladder on the top, you put people that have been killed smoking crack, doing heroin, or any of the other drugs. That bottom rung isn't always alcohol. It isn't always cigarettes. It isn't always anything else. It is always marijuana.
You know, before we go to a quick break, we'll get Jeff's take on the other side of this break. I just want to comment real quick. We had the founder of the Weather Channel in here a couple weeks ago on our grassroots panel, John Coleman. As you may know John, he's a resident here locally. And we talked about marijuana on the panel, and he shocked us all by saying that his son died of a drug overdose at the age of 40, and he said that he views marijuana as a gateway drug as well. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll continue with our panel. I'm Rick Amato. We're back right after this.
America is